Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is rejecting from important short-term resistance, while Ethereum is also rejecting from short-term resistance. And on top of that, Solana is getting very close to a break to the downside, but this could be short-lived because $2 billion worth of buying pressure could be coming soon to the crypto market, which I'll talk about in just a moment, so definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the bearish divergence is technically still active, which once again means we're due to see reduced bullish momentum, which usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback here in the price of Bitcoin. And so once again, just in the short term, those are the most likely scenarios, and of course we have been seeing a lot of choppy sideways price action exactly as expected over the last few weeks. And we still have that important Fibonacci level of support still sitting at around 40.9k, sitting closer towards 41k. Once again, that's acting as the main support here on the daily time frame. And while we're on the daily Bitcoin chart, taking a look at the DXY or US dollar index, and right now technically this is still within the downtrend, forming lower highs and lower lows, which technically means the trend for Bitcoin on the daily time frame is still bullish. But once again, as I always say, it's still possible to see short-term pullbacks and sideways consolidations within a bullish trend, so just keep that in mind. We can see very short-term bearish moves during a bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously over the last one day, we saw a perfect bounce from this exact line of support that I've been talking about for a while now on the channel. And this line of support is still sitting at around 42.4k. And also on the 8-hour time frame, we're still within this ascending parallel channel, which is technically a bullish trend. And this line of support is sitting at around 42k approximately. And this line of resistance is sitting at approximately around 46,000. And so at least for now, in the short term, the price of Bitcoin is pretty much chopping around sideways with a slight bullish trend, because once again, we have not confirmed a bearish trend reversal here on the daily chart, but we still have that bearish divergence playing out, resulting in a lot of choppy sideways price action in the short term. And speaking of the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, and just over the last one day, we saw another perfect rejection from this area of resistance, which is sitting in between around 44.3k going up towards around 44.7k. And now if we end up seeing a confirmed breakout back above 44.7k, then in that case, I would expect the price to return up towards these local highs, sitting closer towards around 45.7k to 45.8k approximately, because we do have a decent amount of resistance at around 46,000. But in a more bullish scenario, if we broke out back above 46,000, then in that case, we should also expect the next resistance at around 48,000. And as for short-term support, we do have some short-term support right around here at these candle closes, sitting at around 42.6k, and below that we have more short-term support at around 41.9k, and below that we have more support sitting in between around 40,500 going up towards around 41k. And if we're taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, at the moment this is basically chopping around sideways right around the middle of the RSI. So at the moment the RSI is looking extremely neutral on the 4-hour time frame, and so essentially this is telling us we're most likely going to see some choppy sideways price action in the short term, at least over the next one day or so. But believe it or not, you can make a lot of easy profit in choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now we still have a lot of liquidations, a lot of liquidity starting at around 45.7k, with a lot of liquidity primarily sitting at around 46.1k to 46.2k. And so basically those areas right there are attracting the price of Bitcoin towards those areas of liquidations. And I explained more about this in my last video on the channel. So if you missed my last video, definitely check that one out if you want to know more about this Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And if you want to take these trades in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally I trade over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bybit account, account and deposit on that account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link and deposit $100 worth of crypto or more and make one trade over on Bitflex, then you can get 10 USDT completely for free. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to get those extra bonuses. But anyway, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, and right now these funding rates have not only reset, but we're actually starting to see some of these funding rates flip into the negative territory. And so basically when the funding rates start turning negative, that basically means the short positions are having to pay those funding rates to the long positions. And basically the more negative these funding rates go, the more expensive short positions get to maintain, and the more the long positions are actually getting in return in these fees, basically earning these fees for the long positions. And so when we start to see negative funding rates, this is actually a bullish signal for Bitcoin and crypto, and ideally seeing much more negative funding rates that can actually lead to a short squeeze, which is very bullish for the price. And speaking of bullish price signals, taking a look at another bullish price signal that we just saw yesterday, which was of course another $1 billion in USDT printed by the Tether Treasury. And just a matter of hours after this announcement, we saw another $1 billion of USDT printed by the Tether Treasury. So basically just yesterday, 2 billion USDT, fresh USDT, have been minted. And now how this actually works is obviously not that entire $2 billion is going to be immediately deployed into the market all at once straight away. Obviously that would not happen, because basically this is just to replenish the reserves at Tether so that when people want to redeem this USDT, they have the USDT ready to go. And so for example, if someone sends $1 million in actual US dollars to Tether via a bank wire, for example, then Tether sends this USDT, sends $1 million worth of USDT to that client. And so basically this $2 billion worth of USDT that was just printed will only enter into circulation, enter into the crypto world once we actually see $2 billion worth of reserves go into Tether. And obviously that will happen over time. That will not happen straight away. We're talking about $2 billion here, but obviously Tether is not going to print $2 billion worth of USDT ready for those redemptions if they don't see that demand coming soon. And so based on the actions of Tether right here over the last one day, printing 2 billion fresh USDT, obviously this suggests a lot of new buying pressure coming into the crypto market very soon. And also we are potentially days away from a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved within the US, which is another important factor to consider moving forward as well. Another bullish factor, which I'll be covering here on the channel as soon as it happens and in real time over on my Twitter, link down below. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily time frame, and right now the bearish divergence is technically still active. So once again, we're due to see reduced bullish momentum, usually playing out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight pullback in the price of ETH, which is playing out exactly as expected. And if we're taking a look at the 8-hour time frame, obviously over the last one day, we saw a perfect rejection from this previous ascending line of support, now acting as new resistance, sitting at around 2290. Sitting very close now to around 2300. And so even though this previous pattern right here has essentially already completed, we've already hit the technical price targets, even though that's the case, obviously this line right here can still act as new resistance. And of course, we also have this line of resistance up here, which is sitting at around 2390. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, we saw a short-term rejection from this resistance, which was previous support, and that's sitting at around 2270 to 2280. And just above that level of resistance, we also have this area of resistance sitting in between around 2310, going up towards around 2330. And above that, we have this area of resistance sitting in between around 2380, going all the way up towards around 2410. And as for short-term support, we do have short-term support at around 22.10, and below that we have more support in this price range sitting in between around 21.30 going up towards around 21.60. And so at least as of right now, in the shorter term, the price is looking relatively neutral, basically chopping around sideways within this massive sideways price range. But once again, you can make a lot of easy money in crypto during choppy sideways price action just like this if you stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, taking a quick look at the Solana to US dollar charts on the 3-day time frame, and right now Solana is still playing out that rejection from this Fibonacci level of resistance, which is sitting at around $120. And the next significant level of support for Solana on the larger time frames is this golden pocket right here, sitting in between around $69 going up towards around $77, once again acting as strong support. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, right now the price is running into a bit of short-term support, which is sitting at around $98 approximately. But at least as of right now, at the time of recording this video, the price is getting very close to a possible breakdown. And if that's the case, if we break back below $98, then we should have some short-term support at around $92. And below that, we have this short-term golden pocket sitting in between around $83.50 going up towards around $85.50 here in the short term. And obviously, just a couple of days ago, we saw a perfect bounce in the price of Solana from that golden pocket. And as for short-term resistance, we do have this level right here, which is sitting at around $108. And above that, we have this local high right here, sitting in between around $114 to $116, acting as short-term resistance. And right now, the price of Solana is looking relatively neutral in the short term, very slightly bearish, obviously trending in the bearish direction on the 4-hour charts, forming lower highs and lower lows. But remember, this is within a much larger bullish trend. And so we're basically just seeing a small pause, a small pullback from the much larger bullish trend here on the larger time frames. But zooming into a smaller time frame, we're seeing very slight bearish price action. And with the RSI now running into this area of support once again, we could end up seeing a bit of a short-term bounce over the next one day. But in that scenario, I would ultimately be expecting a lot of choppy sideways price action just in the short term. If we do see a bounce, we could end up seeing a small rejection and vice versa. But once again, you can make a lot of easy profits in choppy sideways price action just like that. And if you want to know how to do that, then make sure to watch the video in the bottom left of your screen right now, because that video right there shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action, and the video in the top left shows you how you can profit if the price is bullish or bearish using longs or shorts. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.